Girls on the Edge. Have we all watched this, Gary?
Yes, indeed. I watched this after we spoke last night.
Okay. This is looking at three teenage girls who have got issues with their mental health. Jade, who is coming up to her 18th birthday. You know, she wants to basically get out of there before she turns 18 and has to then go into like an adult secure unit. You've got Jess, also 17, who has been sort of in and out of psychiatric units since she was 11. Erin was the third girl, who was a little bit younger. She was 16, and all three girls basically had tried to take their own life multiple times.
It was all to do with they were all self-harming, weren't they?
Yeah, and they had like, you know, schizotype personality disorders and depression and things like that. And Gary, you're the person to really go to here, because obviously you work in mental health. This was a documentary about mental health, so...
Yeah, I think anyone who has any questions about what mental health is and how it affects people should watch this program. I feel like this was one of the best programs that I've seen that showed you that mental health can affect anybody and everybody, and we should be seeing it as exactly the same as physical health. And at one point, I think her dad, the child's dad said, just because you can't see the stitches, the bandages and the plasters doesn't mean they're not unwell. And I think that was a perfect explanation of, you know, you cannot judge just by appearances or just by, you know, and even the parents themselves. I mean, you were very in depth. All three of them, their families were very much involved. You know, one family travelled 300 miles every weekend.
300-mile round trip.
Yeah, to be with their daughter. I don't know some families that would do that, and these situations aren't the case. I know, you know, you hear of families that won't even walk around the corner to see their children, you know, once they leave home or whatever. And I appreciate they were sort of on the cusp of, you say, between sort of 16 and 18, you know, varying ages and situations. I just felt like they explained everything. You got to see a lot of the mental health professionals and what they're really doing and how they're caring. I think you got to see more of that. You got less of the medical, less of the kind of like the psychological, but you got to see a lot of just like the encouragement, the constant reassurance that these young people needed.
I've seen better documentaries about the same thing. Don't Call Me Crazy on BBC.
I was going to say that. That sort of bears the most similarity, because that was about teenage girls as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was about a three-parter, wasn't it, I think?
For me, the most fascinating elements of it were the siblings, specifically Erin's young sister, Grace, who was so willing for her sister to come home and so looking forward to it. And then Jade had a twin sister who couldn't bring herself to go into the hospital. And also that moment that I think we spoke of in the anorexia episode that Louis Theroux did earlier last year, of the it's easy to get in but difficult to get out, and that's a terrifying thing. And I didn't get the sense actually that you saw the people that Gary's talking about working with them. It wasn't so much about. Well, I didn't really see that.
No, but what I'm saying is, and the way I'm saying it is, you didn't see them working with them. What you saw was them looking after them, particularly with one of them, and the one who suffered from the panic attacks in big crowds. You saw that it wasn't a case of giving her medication or doing all that. It was just literally sitting with her and reassuring her and knowing what the right thing to say is, knowing that the ice, you know, it shocked her system back into sort of, you know, knowing these things. And I've heard of that technique before. I've never seen it before, but I've heard of that technique.
I do think the BBC do these, well, and Channel 4 as well, but the BBC do these documentaries exceptionally well, and I'm not knocking it.
I felt Jess, was the one who seemed to have the most issues. You know, she was the one they revived with the ice. I mean, I really thought it was well filmed when you saw her in, as Gary said, like the loud situations, the prom, and later the sort of the presentation ceremony. Both of those scenes were the ones that will sort of stick with me the most. What you were saying about Life and Death Row earlier about the sort of agenda, I would say here it was looking at the fact that, as you say, there's the one family doing the 300-mile round trip, that a lot of families, and they did mention that a lot of families are in the same boat, and that Jade's family might have to travel when she moves into adult care, that there isn't those sort of provisions for youngsters to be near to their families if they have to be sectioned. I think that was the agenda.
Yeah.
That was the story that they were trying to tell, and saying this is wrong. Look at what these families are having to suffer through. They're suffering through this already, and now they have to the expense of travelling and things like that. If you're saying that Life and Death Row had an agenda, I would say that is the agenda.
It's a fair point. I would.
Okay, so Girls on the Edge, a one-off which you can now catch on iPlayer as well.